He starred in this year's most grand musical event, Cinderella, and has been nominated for Best Lead Actor in a film for the movie Sabirah. He's one of my absolute favourite guests on Sheila Lives Out Loud, and we take you back on My Motivate with one of Kenya's finest actors, Tirath Padam, next.
Tell us about your love for the arts, because it must have started somewhere.
Well, I began dancing, acting, performing at the age of 4 at home. Okay. I used to force guests whenever they would come home, sit in the living room, watch me dance. I'd bring the radio with me and put music on and just perform for them. As far back as I can remember, I've had the love for, call it the limelight, the stage, being able to tell stories. It's been something that I've grown up with, and it's been the highest passion that I know of. I went to St. Mary's School in Nairobi here in Westlands, and St. Mary's has a huge culture for theatre and performance, and that's where I really got started in on stage, and personalities like Charles J. Oda and Kamze Mwatela are people who mentored me from a very, very young age. So that's where it all started, really, from school, from birth, at home.
It's one thing for a parent to look at a 4-year-old having the time of their life singing, "Can you feel the love tonight, Simba?" I mean, it's one thing to see that. But the older you get, of course, your parents begin to say, maybe you spend more time with the sciences. Maybe you go and spend more time with your tuition here. Did you ever feel like your parents wanted you to focus more on the intellectual side of schooling as opposed to the theatrical? Or did they just support you through and through?
So I got a lot of support from them. They've always been very supportive, but it's hard for someone to chase a career in performance in our country, especially with the Indian community and the wider Kenyan community, because people feel that it's not profitable in any way. Yeah. So I did get some resistance as I was growing up. And then, of course, came the bullying and all that stuff which happened in high school, because I was always a theatre kid and I wanted to be on stage and be, you know, bright and glamorous, and it came with a lot. But despite the resistance, I feel like my parents have been very, very supportive. And in recent times when I've been going for auditions, in fact, even while I was going for the audition for the first feature film, it was crazy up and down. So transport, everything, food. When I left high school, all I was thinking about was, I want to become an actor, I want to become a performer, it's stage, film, that's my life. But then Dad was like, you know it's going to take you some time to get to a certain level. So what's going to be your side hustle? And then I sat and thought, and he's like, why not pick up hairdressing, because you're passionate about it. That was a journey on its own. So I feel like I've had parallel journeys in Nairobi the past 3 years. I started at Dhiren's Hair College. I spent about 10 months training there. I went to Ashley's in the CBD. I trained about 7 months there. And then I got my certification, and now I'm working at a really cool salon called Nothing Like It in Karen.
Yeah, met you there.
Yes, we met each other there.
Wonderful. Yeah, with a great team of professionals who know what they're doing.
Absolutely. And it started off with Dad convincing me to take up this passion, mainly to save up to support performance and acting. Now,
just recently, you were in your first feature film, and it co-starred one of Kenya's top actresses, Brenda Wairimu. Tell us a little bit about that.
So Sabirah, the feature film, is the feature-length remake of Sabirah, the short film, which was shot in 2009 by director and writer Sipi Chadha. It graced a lot of global attraction and acclaim as well. Yeah. And so she decided to develop it into a feature film. And I was fortunate to be in an acting workshop at that time, which was about a year and a half ago. And at this acting workshop, I met Robert Agengo. He is a personality in our country. He does karaoke nights. And he was like, I want you to go meet this lady. So I met her, went on auditions. And Sabirah is the story of a young Muslim girl who's born in Lamu, and her journey of rebellion among a conservative Muslim society and the place of her as a woman. All the parents out there all the parents out there, you really need to be very supportive to that artistic child. It starts at home with our African families and with our Indian families. Be very supportive to their drive and their passion. Just as an example, Amar Desai, who is the director of Robin Hood the Musical, which I just did last year, Aperture Africa Productions, he is so supportive of young people in the Indian community and in the African community, just to bring them up. So it starts at home, and then on a nationwide level, I feel like the government needs to support and help be able to fund projects like these, be able to take them off the ground. And also just the wider community, watch more local films, watch more local TV. We're still stuck in watching a lot of international media, when a lot of people are working like you and ourselves to produce local content here. So it's just about a shift in energy and perception.
Exactly. Like, look at what happens in Nigeria. They support their own. Tanzania, don't go too far. Uganda. Pretty much every African country really protects its home-bred artists. The cultural ground is always fertile. People can thrive in these industries, and it's possible to do that here in Kenya.
But I mean, it's important to say as well that as much as you're supporting local talent and supporting the local content, be open to mixes and matches. Be open to collaborations. Be open to making it a global thing. Start at home, support home, but then be able to collaborate openly with people. Because the other thing that happens is once you go back into the local, you tend to block out everyone else, which is, again, it's not helping anybody.
We've had a super season. Thank you to every guest who's made the time to share their journeys, and thank you for watching. If you have a story worth sharing, or you know someone who does, do drop me an email or let me know via my social media. Enjoy my Motivate in the meantime, and see you in Season 6 of Sheila Lives Out Loud at the Waterfront Karen. You've arrived.